What's up, people? This your boy Street Side. Got a thought for the day, and I just want to come through. And I couldn't sit in the crib because I get kind of uninspired sometimes. So I guess sometimes the best way for me to talk is to drive. And what is today? Today's what, May 4th, 2023. Come through. Hopefully, I can share a story about myself with you that you can resonate with. When I look at where I'm at this current point in life, and you look back at the journey that you've been through to get there, and I have little, but I have a lot. And sometimes when you're just comfortable with yourself, man, it bothers the hell out of people. It bothers people to death. I'm a single, I'm a bachelor, no children, not rich, not poor. I just live, and I'm blessed every day. And as you go on in life, sometimes you start to realize how blessed you are. And I talked to a lot of young people lately. I want to say over the last 3 to 4 months that I've just started conversations with me out of nowhere. And I teach them what, a lot of them are going through a lot of things. And I try to teach them what to pray for. Because I remember a time in my life, I want to say about 12 to 14 years ago, where you just wake up one morning, things ain't going right in your life, and you just go. You just open the door from where you at, and you just leave. You don't know where you're going to end up. I'm not sitting here saying I went cross country on some kind of tour trying to find myself, but you just know things ain't right and you left. And here it is, 2023, and I have a roof over my head. I have a vehicle to drive that's paid off, no heavy bills, and I'm able to make it during a recession. And sometimes you don't even realize how blessed you are. I realize how blessed I am, but when you get to talking to people out here, you see people complaining and thinking they're so far behind in life when you have the basic necessities, especially during an economic time right now. To where you could just hold your stuff down. I'm a regular dude. I ain't made no big major accomplishments in life, and I don't have any felonies, and I've never been a gangster or a thug or one of these goofy little guys out here that's been raised to shoot and kill everybody. I've always been a stand-up person. People don't mess with me, and I don't mess with people. And that's not to say people are scared of me. I just know that I give off the vibe that you're not just gonna run up on me and do anything to me. I remember a time in my life, probably about 10 to 12 years ago, like I said, when you just wake up and you go, and I had to walk. Like, you just walk. You ever got to that point? I'm pretty sure a lot of fellas been to that point where you just walk and you're trying to figure your life out. I remember a time where I had to wake up, I want to say about 3:45 in the morning. I used to have to walk. I want to say I would walk about 1.5 miles to a bus stop, and then I would have to catch that bus about 1.5 hours to another part of the city, and I would have to get off that bus, and I would have to walk probably about another 45 minutes to an hour daily. That was the job that I had found when I went on my separate way. And when I would get off the bus to take that 45-minute to an hour walk to the job that I was at the time, is one thing is I would pray, and that's a lot of time when you get a chance to talk to God, talk to the Most High. And one thing I learned in that period of time was what to pray for. You see people that go through struggles and they pray for money. They pray for the visible things that you can see. But as I look back, one thing I'm proud of is I never prayed for money. When I was taking that 45-minute to an hour walk of the day, some days it would rain, some days it was super hot. You have to take that walk. Once you get done walking, pop up at the job, do your job for the day. Then I would have to get back on the road, walk back another 45 minutes to an hour, and get on the bus, it was rush hour then, so that ride would take about 2 hours to get home. And then you would get off the bus and take another, walk about another 1.5 miles home. And I was able to do that for about 2 years until one day I couldn't do it no more. But the interesting thing about it is, when I would talk to God, talk to the Most High, and I never prayed for money, I would always thank the Lord for me being able to have the endurance and the discipline to even be able to respect myself enough to get up and go try to make some, no matter how bad the situation was. And sometimes I think a lot of people forget what to pray for. When you wake up in the morning, if you have any kind of endurance, if you have any kind of discipline, if you have any kind of respect for yourself to get up and try, you are being blessed. Do you know how many people out here in this world don't even try for themselves on a regular basis? Their whole MO is to try to find a way to get somebody else to do something for them. And as time goes on, you'll start to see where those people end up. And that don't mean they'll end up homeless. Sometimes they just end up not being able to take care of themselves, During that time, another interesting thing that would happen during that time is, like I said, I was taking that walk and that journey for about, I want to say 2 years. And after about a year, a specific part of my walk after I got off that bus was through a lot of nice neighborhoods, And as time went on, do you know a lot of those, I want to say a few of those people would start stopping and saying, hey, we see you walk this, matter of fact, let me name the road. It was Mount Pleasant Road in Chesapeake, Virginia. Mount Pleasant Road was a long stretch. I would have to walk from Battlefield Boulevard all the way down to Mount Pleasant Road, and that's probably about a good 1.5 mile walk. That's after catching the bus, and I was walking to go wash cars. That was my job at the time. Yeah, it was a bad point. We all been through it. Do you know, after about a year, some of the people in those nice neighborhoods would stop me with their children and offer me rides? And I would never take the ride because I would never inconvenience anybody. But one of the things the women told me was that we wanted our son to see what it's like to have endurance and to keep going, and little thing to have endurance and to keep going, and what it's like to work hard every day, because as they were from a privileged area, and a lot of those kids can be rather spoiled when they're young before they understand what real life is about. And the small things like that, small little recognitions from strangers, remind you strangers that keep you going. They kept me going during that rough time. Most of the time when you're out here, you're going to meet more strangers that acknowledge what they see in you than people that you've known since you were in high school or before high school. So don't run from your journey. When I bump into the few young people that do talk to me today, I always tell them, don't run from your journey. I said there's a story in everything. Let me give you another example. So after I got tired of taking that walk, which was different, I amicably left, and I started a new journey where I was just doing temp jobs. I was doing day temp jobs. I couldn't really find a regular job, but for some reason I would always get good temp jobs, and the temp jobs would maybe last. Sometimes they'll be 2 weeks, sometimes they'll be a month. But for some reason, something always tell me to get up and keep going. Get up and keep going. Get up and keep going. And I did temp jobs for probably about a good 3 to 4 years. Hotel renovation work, construction work, sometimes restaurants, hotel balls, things like that, where you serve people. And I did that for probably about 3 years until I went to one temp service, and the lady out of nowhere just called me and said, "Can you use a computer?" Mind you, this was 10 years ago. Well, probably more than that, probably about 12. And I said yes. I ended up getting a job to where everything that I had learned on all those temp jobs came into play and helped me succeed at that last ticket that I had. And I stayed at that ticket for about 2 years as a temporary employee, to where the company, this was a corporate company when corporations were hot, hired me full on, $18 an hour. And I stayed at that job for 8 years with no problems in a corporate environment, coming in as myself. And I always try to, sometimes everything that you're learning is building you up to your next step in life. Those jobs that I had over these last few years built me into the person that I am today. It showed me that I was able to operate in corporate environments around many different nationalities, many different personalities, and flourish. I got to the point where I can go into the CEO's office and talk to him just like I'm talking to y'all. That's one thing that I learned. Another thing that I learned is that a lot of the people on the higher ups in these corporations are just regular people. They like you to just talk to them like they're human. So don't run from whatever journey you have. I stayed at that job till 2018. I stayed there for 8 years. It was an 8-year bid that I did, or 8-year tenure that I did at that job. And another example of how I know the Most High has guided me is when I came to the end of that job, I want to say around October of 2018. Around October 2018, I woke up one morning and I was going to work. Mind you, I still didn't have a car at this point. I was getting paid well, but I just didn't want to get. I didn't want to no bills to get a car. And I want to say about the middle of October 2018, I just woke up with an epiphany, and it was just like it was literally like the Most High was talking to me, and I could hear His voice, and He was saying, "You need to get ready to leave this job. You need to get ready to leave this job." And I'm talking about, it burned me alive. You need to get ready to leave this job. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I listened to the voice. And what happened was, around the beginning of November 2018, I put my notice in that I was leaving the company. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't have a plan. And luckily I was able to purchase a car to get around then. Something kept telling me to leave. The bosses, the HR people, the human resources people. I was well known in that company, and everybody wanted to know, what are you going to do next? Why are you leaving? Can we pay you more money? You're a good employee. We're going to miss you. But for some reason, something did not let me stay. Something told me to leave. And I listened. I walked out of that job with very long notice. I walked out the very last day. I made the last day of 2018 my last day at the job. And I started 2019, January 1st, fresh, unemployed from that job, not knowing what I was going to do. So I had a car, so I started doing the Lyft and Uber thing. Now tell me why 2 years later, the pandemic happened to where they shut down. Where that company I was at was one of the companies that was shut down. And everybody in there had to go home, and probably about 75 to 80% of those people lost their job. Now, well, I tell people that story when I'm around them, to let them know, when you have that little voice in your head that the Most High is telling you to make a move, go ahead and make it, because it's telling you that for a reason. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like that decision made me rich, but I can guarantee you to tell you that I was able to work every single day during the pandemic while a lot of people got laid off, and I've been able to hold myself down without doing anything crazy throughout this whole time. So for all of you ones that do say that you're chosen and you feel different, you feel awkward, you feel like it's more out here for you, and you have that voice in the back of your head telling you make a move, tap into that voice. Tap into that voice and see what is out here for you, what this world has for you, because it could be leading you into a direction that you never thought that you would have ended up in. And I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I know it's choppy and all over the place. I'm not a professional YouTuber, but I am going to get to the point to where I start sharing my journey with this world as I've been inspired by a lot of people up here too. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Y'all have a good day.